Good morning, world. Welcome to Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, say what?
Boom. How you doing this morning, Brenda?
I'm excellent. And you?
Oh, fantastic. Couldn't be any better. It's a bright early morning here. Actually, it's a little overcast. So, hi. What's Bitcoin doing?
It's actually not doing too bad today. It's actually not doing too bad.
You got a price? You got a price for me?
I can screen share that in a little bit. Why don't you talk about your news and then I'll pull up a trading view.
Okay, sounds like a great idea. All right, let me get into mine.
So I do my normal thing while Mark's pulling up his first news of the day. Behind us, we have lovely Louisiana. Mark and I have never been there. I don't think. Have you been there?
No.
Yeah.
Not
very beautiful. It's a little scary. I think there'd be alligators there, but what's that?
No, not in this lifetime. No.
No. Okay. And we have Louisiana behind us, and behind Mark, we are going to be talking about is Bitcoin dirty or is it a clean source of energy? Because we are hearing all the time that it's dirty, and we're going to talk about that.
So we need to take our Bitcoin and go wash them.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We're going to start off here with the morning news. Treasury Secretary Yellen says U.S. does not have a framework up to the task of regulating cryptocurrencies. Okay, nice. That's a good-looking woman there. All right. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the U.S. does not have adequate framework to deal with all the different issues posed by cryptocurrencies, such as money laundering and illicit financing. Not like they've ever done that with cash. According to her, there is no framework that is quite up to the task of putting in place a regulatory framework that we need for cryptocurrencies.
Unbelievable.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, I'm going to go down here real quick.
What are they waiting for?
Well, there's no time like the present when it comes to the government. So just, she proceeded to name several issues she sees associated with cryptocurrencies, such as money laundering, Bank Secrecy Act, use of digital currencies for illicit payments, and consumer protection. Hey, I as a person who I get regulation, I get it. I understand it. You want a framework for stuff. You kind of want everybody playing by the same rules. But that's not how it works. At least it sure hasn't in the, some people, as it was an animal farm, some animals are more important than others. So to be honest with you, I just find it interesting. I look at this and I say, and read the article. It's a short article. It just talks about they haven't got a framework in place. And the bottom line is, oh, what are we going to do? Well, what do these people do for a living? That's what they're there for. It's not like this is, I'm going to get out of this article.
Maybe we could actually pick apart that book, Animal Farm, and then kind of make it like which animal is which person going on in society.
Yeah, right. So,
or at least which animal represents a segment of society.
I guess how I look at this is it's kind of amazing that, hold on here, you hear all this and you're like, look, let's be honest. Bad people do bad things, whether they have crypto, cash, they're trading pigs, whatever, right? I mean, yeah. Let's be honest. If you're a person that's doing illegal things, okay, because there's no people in the government that do illegal things, just everybody else out there does things. Yeah. Okay, so let's be honest. The framework isn't about that, because there again, you're only talking a percentage of the population that's probably not going to change. That's doing bad things with cash. So right.
They've got to spend the FUD, and so that's why it is. Yeah, that's my favorite word. You know me. I think I talk about FUD almost every day.
Elmer FUD, right?
FUD or inflation.
Yeah.
Call me the what do they call me, Debbie Downer?
It's crazy. I don't get it.
Oh, and you wanted to know what Bitcoin's doing? Let me quick share.
Yeah.
Just for a second, we won't do a trading chart as far as talking about it. We're just going to look at Bitcoin real quick. Bitcoin right now. The lovely gal is at 57.8. The MACD, the blue MACD line, is trending upwards slightly over the orange signal line. So as of this moment in time, it's not doing too bad. So
all All right.
It
Hey,
goes.
by the way, what do we got going on in the background here?
All right. Well, so we're going to be talking about Bitcoin. That was the main point of our thing. So again, we've been hearing for weeks now all this FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt about Bitcoin, and it's bad and it's dirty. And most people that we talk to, because we have kids in their 20s, a lot of them are saying that they're hearing that Bitcoin is dirty, it's bad for the environment, it uses too much electricity, and all that. So I did a little bit of research, and I think I talked about it the other day. So I just want to bring some of this in, and so that's why Mark has that Bitcoin. That's from one of the magazines we're talking about. So let's go here. All right. Bitcoin energy consumption. As we can see, I use this picture here. So credit to bitcoin.com. Bitcoin energy consumption is far more efficient and greener than today's banking system. While Bitcoin and a variety of digital currencies has swelled in value, a number of critics have spread fear, uncertainty, and doubt, my favorite word, in regard to the energy consumption of proof of work, POW, cryptos, leveraged to produce new units of currency. The latest hot topic with the cryptocurrency industry is the topic of Bitcoin's proof of work energy consumption and whether or not the consumption is efficient. So this is a lot of stuff that we hear about all the time. So we're trying to show you that it's basically garbage news. Studies show over 75% of crypto miners leverage renewable energy sources. For instance, the anti-Bitcoin environmentalists do not weigh the fact that much of the POW, proof of work, mining industries uses renewable energy sources like hydropower, wind, solar, and geothermal energy. There are a number of reports that show over 70% of crypto miners, over 70%, use a mix of renewable energy to power facilities across the world. There's also an abundant efforts dedicated to energy cogeneration as well, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. The 2020 third Global Crypto Asset Benchmark study by the University of Cambridge also indicates that 70% of digital currency miners are renewable power sources. So they're showing kind of like there's been research and studies done. So it's not just someone saying this.
Sure.
Backing up this data is a report from the Deutsche Bank Research, the Chinese National Energy Agency, Morgan Stanley, and CoinShares. The report from these four organizations highlights that 78% of Bitcoin's electricity usage is from renewables. There are countless reminders and real-world examples of Bitcoin miners using a far more efficient means of electric use than all of the financial systems on the planet. 2 years ago, Bill Tai, an investor and board director of Bitfury, detailed that Satoshi is smiling because of the green energy use Bitcoin miners use today. Okay, so that is just one source and one thing that we're talking about here. And then there's many studies in this source. They talked about many studies being done by all these independent entities. Okay, so next time that any of you guys here, if you're new, again, our channel is about educating people new in the crypto arena, right? Right, Mar? Yeah. And so this here is about when you hear one of your friends say, oh, it's bad, it's using too much electricity. Understand, it's 76% of all the miners that mine the Bitcoin are using renewable energies.
Right. And that energy, people, some people don't understand, there's excess capacity. So what that means is it just goes wasted. It doesn't go into the grid. So, whether it's wind, think about a dam runs all the time.
Okay? Yeah, right.
And but there's peak levels of energy use, okay, and there's low levels of energy use. So it doesn't get used at all times. So
they're trying to, that's the point of that cogeneration, that they're talking about reusing some of these wasted, I don't know if cogeneration is using the wasted, where they're capping these oil refineries. There's another thing. I think I talked to you about it last night. It's kind of a fun thing that one company is doing. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. So this is just kind of a fun little piece of news. Making Ethereum distilled by Bitcoin miners. And you're like, what? This is part of the...
Nice play on words.
Yes. So this is actually how someone is using that cogeneration. Bitcoin mining could have an unexpected application in the booming spirits industry. Shortcuts to aging rum and whiskey are sought after, and experiments have included dumping oak chips into whiskey barrels and artificial heating and cooling barrels to imitate the passing of seasons. Electrical and computer engineer graduate of Cornell, Avi Osenberg, there's a picture of him there, describes himself as a hardware guy. These days, he's running his company, South Florida Distillers in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to make rum from locally sourced molasses. As I speak with him by telephone, he's in his warehouse with plans of attending the North American Bitcoin Conference. He followed Bitcoin since 2009, but only recently took the tumble down the rabbit hole by purchasing mining equipment. He ultimately purchased 3 ant miners and placed them in his distillery. The last thing I thought I needed was for my warehouse was to get any hotter, because you have to understand these mining rigs generate a lot of heat, and it's very hot around them. The spirits distiller hit on the idea to use the exhaust heat from these mining rigs to cycle the temperature of his rum barrels to help accelerate the aging process. Heating and cooling the wooden barrels not only affects the temperature of the rum, but it causes the barrels to expand and contract. While this occurs, rum is forced back and forth through the charred inner surface of the barrel, helping the filler and help to filter and taste. I can't even read today. Helping filter the taste and extracting sugars and flavors from the wood. The idea of spoofing temperature cycles is not new to the spirit industry. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, why not take it one step further, he thought, and then he focused the distillation process himself. For now, he is using 3 ant miners, and he has a successful results on the small scale. He claims that he's working on scaling this process for larger volumes, but will need access to ASIC hardware partner to help realize his design, because the ASIC equipment is what is used in these mining rigs. Mm-hmm. And not only do miners use ASICs, but so do all the gamers around the world, because we have a gamer in the family. And they're very hard to find, and they're very expensive. South Florida distiller now plans to release the first ever rum distilled via Bitcoin mining heat. It will be called Ether Rum, or Ethereum. Very cool. So that is just one way that someone is...
Cool. That's cool. I mean, think about it.
You said boom.
Boom. Boom, 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 boom. No, that's awesome. We should get a bottle.
I looked it up, I couldn't find it, so I don't know if he's just doing it like selling it locally or just at a bar.
I'm sure if you look up Fort Lauderdale, you could probably find it and probably get yourself some, or get yourself some for your favorite husband.
Or maybe we could just go on vacation there.
Or there we go. That would even be better. Hey, got another idea. You know, with these mining rigs and stuff, how much heat? I say we start our own sauna business. Think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Separate saunas, and you just heat up the saunas with.
Yeah, it'd be very loud on there.
Okay. Well, no, you could distribute the heat.
We could tell them it's good for meditation with that.
Yeah, you could filter it into a little box.
Did you hear what I said?
What?
I said the humming sound. It's really loud. We can just tell them it's good for meditation.
It's like a Gregorian chant.
So, all right. Well, why don't you share some more of your news, and then we'll go back.
Not only are we telling you, hey, Bitcoin is a good place to be, we're giving you ideas on how to take it and make it even more profitable for yourself.
Right.
All right, I'm going to go into my article here.
We can have are those salt places that you can go and sit in those salt caves? I wonder if that's hot in there too.
I have no idea.
Some of these saunas have those.
I've
never been to one, but
I've heard of them. I don't know anything about those, but we could look into that. Yeah, salt. Okay, salt sounds good. I like salt. All right, let's pull this up here. Okay, here we go. Obviously I'm a big football guy here.
Oh yeah, more football news. This is awesome.
More football news, yes. Grayscale becomes the first ever Bitcoin company to partner with NFL team. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Cryptocurrency asset manager Grayscale Investments. They're kind of a big player in the space that has become the firm Bitcoin-focused company to officially partner with an NFL team as its official digital currency asset manager partner of the New York Giants. So if they're doing it with the New York Giants, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, the New York Giants! They're gonna really get some.
Yeah, exactly. Competition bears this all out. Grayscale will become the Giants' presenting home game sponsor. Okay, so that, you know what that is. Generally what you'll see on that is like when the coach comes out or the guys come out on the after the game and they start talking, that, you know how we got our banner for our other company, Brenda, you know, when we do ours where our name is all over it, that's what that's going to be.
Oh, okay. So when they stand and talk at the press,
of course, but they're also probably, and I'll get into this real quick, and supporting sponsor of the team's training camp. So at their training camp, they'll have all their logos and all that, and it will host voluntary educational seminars on cryptocurrencies for Giants personnel, potentially including players. The announcement suggested the aspect of this partnership will be onboarding the Giants organization onto Bitcoin and cryptocurrency services. Then you can go in the article. Nice small article. I'm going to
So
get.
have we heard it yet? I was actually thinking about this the other day. Maybe you could do some research since we both kind of cover different things that we like.
Yeah.
Maybe you could find out other than football, because it seems like football is really getting into Bitcoin and crypto, kind of more Bitcoin. If you can find out if there's anybody else, like if the NFL or the baseball league.
How about this? How about we do? How about as our channel grows here, we do. I'll do a sporting angle. I'll do.
But go check maybe this week and see if the. I mean, I know it's not hockey season, right? Hockey season doesn't start.
No, this last year with COVID, it's like everything is upside down. So I mean, so you're going to see.
I'm just curious because if this is happening, so maybe check in the baseball league and then the NFL, and I'd be curious, and then basketball. So I'd be curious. So that's your homework.
Yeah. I know there are some basketball players that do have kind of their foot in the door on this.
Yeah.
To exactly say who, I don't recall their names, but yeah. So absolutely, I will be more than glad to look into that. Do you have another article? Or
I absolutely do. Yeah, because I'm talking today about how Bitcoin, is it dirty? Is it not? Kind of a thing. All right. So here is another thing I want to share. All right, the comparison of Bitcoin's environmental impact with that of gold and banking. Bitcoin's energy consumption and environmental impact are commented on very regularly, but ultimately they are rarely understood. The majority of arguments stem from the comparisons of Bitcoin's electricity use to that of particular countries or from other apples to oranges comparison. Critics can't even separate energy use from electricity use. Over 1 billion people have no access to the electric grid, but still have access to energy via physical fuels. Just like they don't need the grid to survive, neither does Bitcoin miners, many of whom are now using flared methane in remote oil fields to mine Bitcoin. Of the 160,000 terawatt hours of energy generated worldwide each year, 50,000 terawatt hours is lost to inefficiency, and only 25,000 terawatt hours is generated by the electrical grids. Bitcoin consumes around only 120 terawatt hours, a mere 0.25% of the energy wasted each year, or 0.5% of the world's grid electricity, representing less than 0.1% of human energy production. So the whole point of this kind of detailed information is not to bore you. It's to say that the next time that you, as a newbie maybe to crypto, and you're debating on getting into it, and then all your family and the younger generation especially, or anybody that is really into the environment says, oh, it's using so much. Go pull up this article from Bitcoin Magazine and show this to them, because I think people are hearing this FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt from certain news organizations just to scare the average guy from getting into crypto, especially Bitcoin. Although Bitcoin's energy use is trivial to define and calculate, this is not the case for the industries in which Bitcoin is regularly compared. Where does the environmental impact of the gold industry end? Does it end with the deep gashes in the earth that open-cut gold mines leave that are so massive they can be seen from outer space? Do we also factor in the electricity costs of all the world's jewelry shops and gold dealers? Furthermore, what about the environmental impact of the banking system? Does that include all the banking buildings, ATMs, cotton, plastic, and metal used to manufacture notes, coins, and cards? The next issue is framing. There has been a dangerous conflation between energy use and pollution. To return to the example of gold, companies like Dell are now aiming to use 100% recycled gold in their computer chipsets, as according to research commissioned by them. That is at least 90. So, okay, that was underlined. The research was commissioned by them, which means they control the research. That is at least 99% cleaner than physical mining. So they say, well, we're going to recycle this. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So how much energy does that take to recycle it? That's always oh well, we're running over here and do this on our own,
Right. Well, they're claiming it's 99% cleaner than the actual mining. It is, quote, cleaner because recycling gold avoids the use of trillions of gallons of water and the creation of mountains of waste rock. That being said, recycled gold consumes more electricity than mining it. Okay.
Yeah. So I was just go ahead. Are you going to read some more there?
No, we can talk. We can stop and talk.
I was thinking about this. I was driving along the highway, and there's obviously we live in a metropolitan area here in Chicago, and I was driving down the highway, and I saw this mountain of concrete, just all chunks and pieces and everything from broken up highways and stuff. 30 years ago, we just dumped that concrete. We didn't reuse it. We're reusing it now because now we have technologies. We'll take that mountain, we'll strip out the rebar, we'll grind it down, we'll reuse it for something else. Great idea. Sounds good. There's going to be things that we're going to have in 5, 10, 20 years that's going to make energy even cleaner, more efficient, because as we move into a society like cryptocurrency and the blockchain, it creates efficiencies, okay?
Right.
And efficiencies create more efficiency.
So, but I think the reason why I'm going to go back to this article right now, the whole point of this is that just don't always believe what you hear. Go do some more research on it. And so when I did the research for the show today, and then they say, oh, well, now we're going to use the gold industry saying we're using some of the recycled gold for our Dell was for its chips. And then you realize it actually consumes more energy to use the recycle than it is the actual mine. And so they did their own research. Then they said, oh, this is 299% more efficient. So don't always believe what you read, do more research. And just because, and I did pull up many articles, and that's why I'm showing many articles today. So I'm going to go back and show more of this here. Make sure I find the right one I was just on. Okay, here we go. Gold. In 2020, roughly 3,500 tons of gold were mined and 1,300 tons of gold were recycled, according to gold.org. According to Dell, each kilogram of mined gold produces 20 tons of CO2 and uses 48% of energy, but they emit the energy needed for further refinement of gold because of data limitations. A new study from DePaul University suggests that this number should be closer to 35 tons of CO2 for jewelry. That's when they talk about refinement, which accounts for roughly 50% of global gold demand. It is assumed that refinement uses a similar amount of power to recycling. Therefore, a total of 79 MWH, maybe megawatt hours, is used for the mining and refinement of each gram of gold used for jewelry. Each kilogram of recycled gold uses 37 tons of CO2 and uses 31 megawatt hours of energy. This brings the gold mining industry in 2020 to 265,000 of terawatt hours of energy used and 140 MTs of CO2 produced if we use DePaul's study. Okay, so you're like, okay, that's a lot of information, but just stay with me. So let's compare this now to banking. In 2014, okay, now this is a while ago, I calculated a figure of 660 terawatt hours of energy used by the banking system branches and ATMs in addition to cotton, plastic, and metal for manufacture of notes and coins. Without too much wizardry, we can conservatively assume an increase of 1 to 2% per year, and therefore roughly figure this to 700 terawatt hours of energy consumed, okay, and 400 MTs of CO2 produced by the banking. Now let's go down to Bitcoin and let's compare this, and then we're going to show a chart. I'm very comfortable using the Cambridge Bitcoin Electricity Consumption Index, here you go, as their methodology mirrors mine from 2014 and 18. According to the CBECI, Bitcoin uses 113 terawatt hours of energy per year. Basic economic indicates that miners will continue to chase the cheapest power available, because remember, they get paid to mine, so they're going to find the cheapest power. Sure. Which is increasingly becoming renewable. Bitcoin could be running on a majority of combination of stranded, waste, and renewable energy by the end of the decade. Remember, it's in their best interest, guys, that the miners find the cheapest power. So that's why they're trying to find renewables. Using the current global average grid figure of 0.6 tons of CO2 per kilowatt hours of electricity produced, Bitcoin mining emits 70 MTs of CO2 annually. We can say that Bitcoin emits less than half of what the gold mining industry does and less than 1/5 of what the bank branches and ATMs do.
Sure.
Look at the chart. Can you see this, guys?
Yep.
Okay, now add the gold mining together. Here's the banks together, and then I'll look at Bitcoin.
Right.
And this is the point. I'm not really trying to bore you guys with all this information.
No, but you did
break it down.
You have to dig down into the numbers, and you have to really start to not just read this, but really think about it. Think about, like you said, think about banks. How many buildings? You got buildings. You have heating those buildings, cooling those buildings, water to those buildings, the construction of those buildings, the people that drive to work go to those buildings,
the maintenance of it, the parking lot, the whole thing.
The people that go get money out of their banks, people go deposit money. So it's endless. And you stop and think, okay, wait a minute. You got a couple guys, and I say couple. Let's say there's 1 million minds out there.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot more than that in bank. I mean, think about how many employees are there of banks? Just employees of banks. That would be a number that would be fascinating to know. Okay, so that's my whole point is when you really start to think about this, and as a business owner, which we are, we understand there's fixed costs and variable costs, and the variable cost in this equation is energy. So the bottom line is the cheapest energy that they can get is the best energy they can get.
Right.
So if you've got stranded wells, or if you're flaring gas, okay, and you can do something with it, as an environmentalist, why would you not want that? I don't understand that. To me, so you're being disingenuous, or you're just a lying piece of crap.
Right.
I just don't understand.
The whole point is, as a new investor or someone who's thinking about crypto, and you hear that it's so bad for the environment, we're showing proof here. Go follow in the show notes on YouTube video. I put all of the sources of these articles. Go read them yourself.
Yeah.
And then I believe some of these articles actually have footnotes that you can now go and find where they got their information. So we're on 26 minutes. Do you want to share something else?
I got one last article I can go through. Not a big one. Let's see. Okay, here we go. My last article of the day. Check. Here we go. Okay.
And then I have a just something cool I want to quick share too.
All right. So everybody's nervous. Oh, should I get into Bitcoin? Are they going to ban it? Why you shouldn't be worried about a Bitcoin ban?
A ban? Who's banning it?
I don't know. Let's go down and see who's going to ban it. Okay. Worried about a ban? Then you need Bitcoin more than you think. Skeptics often argue that governments will ban Bitcoin when it becomes too important and threatens national sovereignty. At least these critics understand Bitcoin's importance and the power that state currency monopolies exert over us. What they fail to understand is the power of distributed, open-sourced technologies and the game theory faced by governments when making these decisions. Bans are ineffective. They are, because if you think about it, every time you ban something, people do more of it. They merely cede global technology power to the peers. Authoritarian governments, that's a tough word to say. Governments are more inclined to attempt regressive regulations. If you live under that type of regime, you need Bitcoin more than you think, okay? So the bottom line is this. They're not going to supply it. They're not going to ban it. I'm going to go into this real quick. This is a little clip here. I'm not going to go into the clip. Surprise, surprise. You would have to shut down the internet. I don't see how you could ban it. Be a foolish thing for government to try to do that. We would be missing out on the innovation. Okay, that's the
Is that the SEC's commissioner?
Yeah, that's Hester Pierce. She seems like she gets it. Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I've seen interviews with her. Yeah.
You know what? Okay, every time we read a story about somebody that's going to ban it, what ends up happening? The populace of that nation, you find all of a sudden they're starting to buy more of it.
Right.
So you go back to the 1920s, okay, and you go to Prohibition, and we're not going to have alcohol. Chicago, of all places, what happened? They were running booze like crazy. Yeah. They had places, and it's funny because the more you think you're going to stamp something out, the more it kind of just, you push it down here, it pops up over there.
Yeah.
I think people have to understand that
it's not going to be banned. They're just saying that to get people.
Yeah, it's goofy. Blah. Hey, Rob, looks like Rob joined us this morning. How about a quick conspiracy? Yeah, I don't know. Do I have any conspiracy theories? Bigfoot. Okay, is Bigfoot alive? Okay, gosh, you know how long Bigfoot's been around? You think
Yeah.
about it? I mean, it probably been around really long, but
I can't see his comment because I'm on the shared screen right now. So
Oh.
I'm going to talk about this and then we'll come back and see who's commenting.
Oh, he said Ethereum during our next prohibition. Nice. Yes, absolutely. Hey, sounds good to me, baby.
We'll bring it to the next conference. So
Yeah.
here we go. How much energy does Bitcoin actually consume? Again, this goes along with the concept of is, Bitcoin dirty energy, okay? Real quick, how much energy does an industry deserve to consume? That's the whole point. Like, who's to say that this doesn't deserve to use energy? Right now, organizations around the world are facing pressure to limit the consumption of non-renewable energy sources and the emission of carbon into the atmosphere. The calculation of which goods and services are, quote, worth spending these resources on, after all, is a real question of value. Energy use has become the latest flashpoint in the larger conversation about what and who digital currencies are really good for. Depends upon how you feel about Bitcoin. If you believe that Bitcoin offers no utility beyond serving as a Ponzi scheme, which we've heard them say that before, or a device for money laundering, which they say as well, the FUD people, then it would only be logical to conclude that consuming any amount of energy is wasteful. But if you are one of the tens of millions of individuals like us worldwide using it as a tool to escape monetary repression, inflation, or capital controls, you most likely think that the energy is extremely well spent. Whether you feel Bitcoin is a valid claim on society's resources boils down to how much you think Bitcoin creates for society. Although another key factor that makes Bitcoin's energy consumption different from that of most other industry is that Bitcoin can be mined anywhere. Bitcoin has no limitation, enabling miners to utilize power sources that are inaccessible for most other applications. Okay, I find this part really interesting. Hydro is the most well-known example of this. In the wet seasons in Sichuan and Yunnan, I'm probably horribly making this bad, enormous quantities of renewable hydro energy are wasted every year. These regions most likely represent the single largest stranded energy resource on the planet. And as such, it's no coincidence that these provinces are the heartland of mining in China, responsible for 10% of global Bitcoin mining in the dry season and 50% in the wet season because of this hydro energy. Another promising avenue of carbon neutral mining, okay, I think this is cool, is flared natural gas. The process of oil extraction today releases significant amounts of natural gas as a byproduct, energy that pollutes the environment without ever making it to the grid. Since it's constrained to the location of remote oil mines, most traditional applications have historically been unable to effectively leverage that energy. But Bitcoin miners from North Dakota to Siberia have seized this opportunity to monetize this otherwise wasted resource, and some companies are even exploring ways to further reduce emissions by combusting the gas in a more controlled manner. Calculations suggest that there's enough flared natural gas in the US and Canada alone to run the entire Bitcoin network. I was floored when I saw that.
Right. Yeah. So we've got, you know what, it's like this, if we're inefficient in our system and there's stuff just laying around and it's waste, we don't pay attention to it. But as soon as you start paying attention to it, all of a sudden you're like, oh, we got this one. You're like, because all these companies are all scattered all across the globe. It's like, oh, we got a little bit here, a little bit there. And all of a sudden the next thing you know, it adds up. So yeah, the efficiency thing definitely, I don't know what environmentalist says this is crazy, because being burnt no matter what. Can you pull up the Rob sent? He goes, this Rob sent his conspiracy. The U.S. government is
right here.
hey Rob, you know what? That's so funny because I've thought about that as far as the 1 million. It's like, well, who's got the one? It's alleged that this Satoshi person has 1 million Bitcoin. So I always thought, wonder why, and if that person just kind of went away. So I've kind of, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that's always troubled me for some reason. Not in a bad way, but it's like, is that okay? We've established something. So great minds think alike. How's that? We'll leave it at that.
All right. I have a few more things just to cover, and then we will need to head on out. Yeah. Okay. So I think this is really cool too. So this is the part I want to show. Interestingly, the aluminum smelting industry offers a surprisingly relevant parallel. The process of transforming natural bauxite ore into usable aluminum is highly energy intensive, and the cost of transporting aluminum often aren't prohibitive. So many nations with a surplus of energy have built smelters to take advantage of their excess resources. Regions with the capacity to produce more energy than could be consumed locally, such as Iceland, Sichuan, and Yunnan, became net energy exporters through aluminum. And today, the same conditions that incentivize their investment into smelting have made these locations prime options for mining Bitcoin. There are even a number of former aluminum smelters. Now, this is the funny part or interesting part, such as the hydroalco plant in Massena, New York, that have been directly repurposed as Bitcoin mines. And didn't we just hear the other day that New York was saying, you know what, we're going to probably ban Bitcoin for the next Bitcoin mining for maybe the next 3 years till we see
we've got to study it.
we think it's dirty. And they're just saying here that this plant in New York, probably out west in New York, is a hydro plant that is very efficient, and they're going to use this efficiency. It's crazy that New York is doing this. Many journalists and academics talk about Bitcoin's high per traction energy costs, but this metric is misleading. The vast majority of Bitcoin's energy consumption happens during the mining process. Once coins have been issued, the energy required to validate transaction is minimal. Okay, so I'm not going to read the whole thing because I know we're kind of running out of time, but I just, I mean, everything that I've shared today, I think most of you will walk away and say, wow, the news that we hear, it's just stuff that either people don't research and they just say it because they're just regurgitating someone else's
headline. I mean, let's be honest. And I will be the first, I'll raise my hand. I'll be the first to admit I'd read a headline and be like, oh, and then just take it, and not read the article and just take the headline and like, oh, did you hear that Bigfoot is looking to be drafted in the NFL? I mean, something ridiculous. And it just, or something, there's the
everything's clickbait now. It's all clickbait.
Yeah, but
most everything. I shouldn't say everything. Most.
Okay. So everything that, I want to say, let's put it this way: clickbait's been around forever. Think about headline banners on going back to Dewey defeats Truman. I mean, at some point in time, there again, you have to delve down into it. And I've come to the conclusion that people that are in charge, or quote unquote in charge, it's like a magic trick. Let's focus on here and voila, look at the magic. Because your eyes are here.
Focus on Dogecoin. Voila, Bitcoin.
Yeah. To me, it's a sleight of hand, and after a while, it's just like,
I hate to end this whole beautiful conversation on Dogecoin. We won't.
Whatever.
So, all right. So I think
we're dog lovers. Maybe that's what it is. We're dog lovers.
Yes. We just need to come up with the Basset coin. Welcome to the Grand Illusion. That's right.
Yeah, play a little. That's what we should do. We should play some sticks. Welcome to the Grand Illusion.
Oh yeah.
Remember? All right. Yeah. We're.
Hey, we sang yesterday for Rob's song about the dog. Look at the Doge in the window with the waggly tail. Now Mark's singing the stick song, and then the other day we sang woof woof. We sang Daft Punk. How does that go?
Better, faster, stronger, something like that.
Yeah, that's a great song. That's a good song from Daft Punk. So, all right. Well, we need to head on out. Thank you for the few that are joining us here, and appreciate you coming in. Rob, you have a safe travel today. Where are you at today? I don't know if you have time to chat into there real quick where you're traveling today. He's one of our friends in our crypto group that we meet every Sunday on Zoom.
Love Renegade too. Good song.
Yeah. Well, you have safe travels, and hopefully you guys will join us. We love to talk about Bitcoin and anything blockchain, and help the average Joe and Jane understand that crypto is coming here. It is not stopping. We just heard news this morning before we head out that hundreds of banks, we'll talk about it tomorrow, are saying in the coming months they will offer Bitcoin at their bank, that you can buy and hodl it at their bank. So
yes.
Oh, Coachella. Awesome. Coachella's beautiful. I've heard it's beautiful. I haven't been there, but so. All right.
Well, thank you again for joining us at Bitcoin.
Say what?
Boom. Take care, everybody.
Have a great day. Everybody be safe. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
All right, bye.